Hey, everyone. I believe we're live. Hello. Going to wait a few moments while I just make sure that we're live, and we're going to wait for a few people to start joining. Okay, we're on. Excellent. Hello, welcome to day 2. We are delving into the Unleash Your Inner Storyteller Deep Dive Challenge. I'm super excited to be coming live with you guys today. We've got some really awesome training for you, some really powerful stuff to tactics and strategies to start to implement in your business right away. So I'm just going to wait for a few people to start joining on live. I can see we have a few people coming in now. Jump in, let me know who you are, say hello so I know who I'm talking to. Hi, Maya. Excellent. Lovely to have you here. Beautiful. Awesome. So look, I'm super excited, like I said, to be delving into this today. And I would love to hear in the comments some insights or ahas that you guys got from our session yesterday. I know it was quite an intensive session. And I'd love to hear like what landed for you from that session, because the most important thing with this challenge in particular, but with anything that we do, right, with any training that we do, is that we're actually implementing and that we're taking action on the things that we're learning. Otherwise, it goes in one ear and out the other if we do not actually, embody what we're learning and take action on what we're learning. So I wanted to remind you all, there's a little part 1, what did I call it? Home play. I don't want to call it homework. Home play exercise, which if you haven't done that yet, I highly encourage you do that. And I see more people jumping in. Say hi, let me know who you are. You'll have until Wednesday next week. Hi, Ben. Welcome, darling. Lovely to have you here. You'll have until Wednesday next week to complete all of the little home play exercises and watch the lives, comment on all the lives. The lives will be getting taken down on Wednesday next week. And then everyone who comments on all of the lives and who does all of the home play exercises goes into the draw to win a 45-minute storytelling strategy session with me. That's live, so it's really awesome incentive for you guys to actually do the exercises, which is, like I said, where the real transformation actually happens, I believe, because otherwise it's just more information, right? And we're, especially in the online social media world, we are being completely bombarded by information. We do not need more information, right? What we need is transformation and implementation. And raise your hand. Let me know in the comments, yeah? If this is you, if you found yourself at some stage along your business journey, if you found yourself just consuming other people's content, consuming it over and over and reading it or watching it, but never actually putting any of it into practice. Or maybe put a little bit of it into practice for a little while, and then you never actually, really embody the lessons, and you don't actually, really do it from a long-term perspective, right? We're being bombarded by informative content at the moment, which is why I believe storytelling is actually so important, right? Because it breaks down this bombardment of informative content, yeah, which can lead to people being completely overwhelmed, right? We've got so much content that we're consuming. It takes us completely out of our center. It takes us out of, the real vision that we have for our own business and the creativity that we have to channel within our business as well, which is really important because we're too busy consuming. So I always say, create, not consume, right? Create, not consume. And if you can funnel some of that consuming energy into creating your own content, creating your own programs, your own trainings, your own events, you're going to see that pay off in your business 50,000 times over, right? It's so important and so powerful. So definitely check out the prompts from yesterday. There's going to be a few more prompts from today as well, and it's all going to start to stack together to form a bit of a cohesive picture for you around giving you really practical and implementable tips and strategies to implement in your business right away. So let's get started. That's my little pep talk for you. Let's get started. I wanted to share with you some interesting research that I found. And it's actually this term neural coupling, right? Neural coupling, which is what happens in the brain when someone listens to a story, especially when someone listens to a verbal story. What they've found is that the brain behavior of the listener will mimic the brain behavior of the speaker. Will actually mimic it. So they call this neural coupling, and it's one of the neuroscientific ways that they've found that have proven just how powerful storytelling is, how it's so important, because not only can it release cortisol and oxytocin in the person who's listening, right, two very, very, very powerful chemicals that our brain produces, but it actually produces greater comprehension, right? And whoever's here, say hi, so I know who you are, let me know. It produces greater comprehension in the listener, right? It produces greater understanding, greater receptivity, greater rapport. And like all of those things, really, they equal greater trust within your listeners and your community, right? So, learning how to implement storytelling in your content creation, in your business strategy, is going to be the thing that helps to break down the boundaries with your community, with your consumers, right? It's really, really powerful. Like I said yesterday, it helps get people into their heart. It helps. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Amanda. Welcome, everyone. It helps people connect to you. It helps people relate to you. And also, they say most people make purchasing decisions from an emotional place, especially women, right? But men as well. And so storytelling is one of the powerful things through neural coupling, or the phrase that I just mentioned before, that can help your consumers, your customers, your clients, your community to really tap into that powerful trust. So they're making trust-based emotional decisions, right? They're not likely going to have buyer's remorse after purchasing something with you, especially if they've formed that deeper connection. So it's very important. So let's talk a little bit today. We're going to be delving into how to merge intuition with strategy when you are creating your storytelling and your content. And this is really important, right? If we're not building in both intuition and strategy, we're going to find that we're sharing lots of stories, and either that we're sharing lots of stories and no one is buying, or we are sharing lots of stories, having lots of interest, or maybe not even sharing the right stories and having no engagement at all, right? So I believe it's the marriage or the merge of intuition and strategy, which is so important, right? It's only really been in the past 4 or 5 years that I've actually started to delve into strategy, like business strategy, business tactics. Prior to that, I was like throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping something would stick in my business. That's what it felt like, right? When I started to study business strategy and business tactics, it's like it all started to come together. It was like, well, I don't have a strategy. That's why I wasn't getting the results. I wasn't following anything in a particular, for any particular length of time. I wasn't implementing powerfully. I wasn't taking note of all of my results. I wasn't capturing that. And, I was pretty much living just in the intuitive feminine, realms with my business, right? Which is very, very important. But we need that masculine structure, the strategy to contain as well. Otherwise, it just feels like we're throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping something's going to stick, and often nothing does. So we're going to talk about intuition and strategy. We're going to talk about how we can bring in storytelling elements into content creation, right? So the most important thing, I believe, when it comes to storytelling, the reason why people resonate so powerfully with stories is because they address some sort of adversity. There's some sort of tension or conflict resolution. And this is actually what people connect to and relate to, right? Life is challenging. Life has all sorts of challenging ups and downs. When we are not actually implementing this kind of adversity in our content creation or in our storytelling or in our videos, in our lives, in our trainings, it kind of just seems very bland, right? It doesn't actually spark people's emotion. It doesn't encourage people to start to imagine in their mind's eye the story or the analogy or the metaphor or the piece of training that you're delivering. So it's really important that we recognize that, right? What is the adversity that you have overcome? So, what experiences, what traumas, what big life journeys, what big things have you overcome in your personal life? Like we spoke about yesterday, around how to uncover the golden thread that links your personal journey with the work that you do now with your clients, right? And if you haven't watched that, I highly encourage you to go back after this video and check that out, because it's really very, very important to the crux of this deep dive. So, it brings up the question then, how can you release fear or, fear of being vulnerable about being transparent to the degree that you feel is appropriate, about the adversities that you've faced, right? Now, like I said yesterday, I highly recommend, I definitely don't recommend that you share anything that is still really highly charged for you, really emotionally charged. However, those memories, those past experiences that were highly charged at that point in time, that were transformational, whether there was adversity, there would always be some sort of adversity. It's whether you consider that to be traumatic adversity or not, that has led you on your path to being right here, right now, doing the work that you do with the clients that you work with, right? So there's so many experiences in a lifetime that we can draw on. And actually there's everyday experiences that we can draw on as well. One of my favorite mentors, Adriana Monique Alvarez, she talks about having your highlight reel. So she says at the end of the day, she's brilliant for storytelling in copywriting. She says at the end of the day, she jumps into bed and she runs her highlight reel of her day over in her mind's eye. What were my highlights? What were the big things that happened to me that day? What were the things that inspired me, or the things that moved me, or even the things that really ground my gears? Like, what was the highlight of the day? Doesn't have to be big things as well, right? Even just small vignettes, small moments in time, when we understand how to capture them and how to articulate them in a way that moves our people into action, in a way that really touches and inspires our community and our readers, we're bringing storytelling into our content creation just like that, right? So what I wanted to highlight for you is that it doesn't have to be a big, life-changing experience. It could be an everyday thing, right? But it's your ability to really drop your reader or your listener into the moment with you. How do you capture their attention and bring them right into that moment so that they can start to feel that experience? They live vicariously through you. This could be an experience with a client. It could be a client transformation. It could be something that your child says. It could be a realization that you have. It could be a moment when you're hiking. It doesn't actually have to be directly related to your business, but your ability to bring, little storytelling vignettes into your content creation is really, really powerful because it connects your people with you. Like we spoke about yesterday, people are dying. They're desperate for connection in social media, in the online space, in the marketing space. They're desperate for that, right? We've had so many years of old, outdated sales tactics that don't work any longer, okay? So, alrighty. So yesterday we spoke about the hero's journey, which is probably very familiar or maybe familiar to you. But what I wanted to talk about is how we can use the hero's journey framework, right? And I posted a link to a very, very fantastic 4-minute long animated video which talks about the steps of the hero's journey. I highly recommend that you watch that. It's in the day 1 component on the units. Should be on the left if you're on your computer that way. But how we can use the hero's journey framework to help us bring our personal story into our business, like we spoke about yesterday, but also how to help us bring our client's story, our client's journey through using this storytelling framework, right? So we can take 2 pathways. It can be delving into our personal business. I call this your business genesis story, right? So this is something that I would love for everyone to start to think about. Why are you in business? Why are you in business? Why are you doing the work that you do? What prompted you to start your own business and to actually, do the things, and sometimes the crazy things that we have to do in business to have our business move forward? Like, what inspires you to continue working in your business and to continue moving the needle forward? So this is one very powerful story which I highly encourage you to actually write down. And you might find that you write different versions of it. You might practice it as a speech. But understanding the reasons, the motivations, the inspirations behind your decision to start your own business is very important. So I kind of shared yesterday, it was a version of my business genesis story, right? So why I started my own business, what led me to do the work that I do now, what were those things along the way which moved me into taking action to create my own business. And I'd love for you to start to consider that for yourselves. If I ask you the question, why did you start your own business? Please don't have it be about making money. Yes, making money is essential. It's very important. And if you know my work, you know I do a lot of work around money mindset and the importance of creating a wealth consciousness. But when it comes to your business genesis story, this is more in along the lines of, you know, the mission that you see your business facilitating. So that's one part of it, right? So it's the journey that you took to get your business to come to the decision that you were going to create your business, and then the bigger picture, the reason why you're in business. What's your vision? What's your mission? What do you believe your business is actually facilitating for the planet? What's the bigger picture, right? So what we're doing here when we bring this in is we start to make our business bigger than us. It's bigger than us, right? It's so much bigger than us. We're actually creating a movement when we start to create a business genesis story, right? Really, really important. So I'd love for everyone to start to consider that. And even over the next week or so until these videos start to come down, for you to write your business genesis story. And I'm going to be putting some more information in a written post that can help you to write your business genesis story and to post it in the group, right? Not only potentially you might have a soulmate client or many soulmate clients in this group, and the more people know about you and the reasons why you started your business, that can only be great for your business, right? And for your business growth. But it's getting you into the habit of implementing, okay? So I'd love to know, has anybody, I know it's only been 24 hours, but has anybody actually written some storytelling content since our session yesterday? Let me know if you have. You're more than welcome to share the link into the group so that we can go to your post and support you as well. So we've got the business genesis story, which is very similar to the brand story, right? Your brand story. So what differentiates you from everyone else doing similar work? Yes, it's your journey and it's your story. It's also the way that you articulate that, and it's the way that you position it as well. So in order to really uncover your brand story, it's really important for you to know very clearly what are your core values, right? How do you want people to feel when they come in contact with your business? Whether that's on social media, whether they jump to your website, whether they encounter an event that you run, how do you want people to feel? It's really important to consider this, right? Because when we know, okay, these are my values. For example, for me, one of my highest values is freedom, right? That is such an important thing for me. It's important for my clients. I see the work that I do as helping to facilitate freedom for my clients and for my people. Financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom, all of that is really, really important to me personally, and it's important to the results that my clients get. It's also important to my clients as well. If they're connected with me, they typically have very similar values as well. Another really important value for me is community. Yeah, so bringing people together, facilitating, bringing groups of like-minded people together, like incubating them so that they can form their own group dynamics. Really important to me, really important to my clients. Compassion and empathy, really important to me, that people feel heard, that they feel safe in my presence, that they feel understood. Really important to me, really important to my clients. Inspiration and empowerment are the others for me as well. So I want my clients, when they encounter my work, to feel inspired, to feel empowered, right? To feel like they can create the business that they desire. They can find the courage to share their story. They can find the inspiration to contribute in a multi-author book and become published. That's possible for them. Inspiration and empowerment, the empowerment to actually do what it takes to take their business out there, which brings me to my final value, which is courage. Kind of all go together, inspiration, empowerment, and courage. It's really important to me that my clients feel courageous. And I don't work with people who don't know how to emulate courage, right? Who don't know how to take action, even if they don't feel like it, even if everything in their cell is saying this doesn't feel safe, right? That's really important to me, really important to my clients. So when I understand my values, I can then find stories from my personal past or my personal history that relate to those values or that lead people to feeling some aspect of those values. So I share a lot about travel, right? I share a lot about the experiences that I've had overseas, that I've had, in in my personal life, traveling around, the power that my business, being an online business, facilitates for me to move and to not be locked in and restricted to one place, because that's it. Like, my core value is freedom, right? So I can share lots of stories around courage, around when I had to find courage to do something that I was scared to do, or stories around community, how I've felt in community, or how I've built community, how I've built group programs that have had people raving about how powerful the community was and how the community vibe was like nothing that they'd ever experienced in another group program. You know, I can share stories about the books, the multi-author books that I'm publishing at the moment, where I'm bringing 30 people together to create something and birth a bestseller, right? So it's really, really powerful. I know you've most definitely done values-based work before, but when you get really clear on the values that are important to you and to your business, most likely they're going to be important to your clients as well. You can then find stories from your personal experiences or from your professional experiences that are in alignment with those values. So I'd love to hear in the comments. All intuition, not a lot of strategy, says Amanda. Yeah, that was me about 5 years ago. I'd love to hear in the comments, what are the top 3 values that come to you for your business, for the work that you do? You know, what are the top 3 core values? Let me know in the comments, and I'm going to keep on going. So, you know, your brand story and your genesis story, I'm going to talk about that in a post. I'm going to actually outline, you know, how they're different and steps that you can take to create it. But with your brand story, you really want people to feel some aspect of the values that you are calling in, right? The values that are the foundation upon which your business sits. So it's really important to bear that in mind. So we can kind of do it from 2 different directions, right? We can find the story that we want to share, a moment in time that was emotionally moving, that moved you, that inspired you, that, you know, where there was challenge and adversity that you had to come through, and then some sort of reward on the other side. And then we can find the thread that links to the work that you currently do with your clients today. That's one way to look at storytelling for content creation. The other way is to jump to the other end, right? Is to find the values, like I said, the values that are important to you, and then the stories that center around those values. So that you can kind of approach it from 2 different directions, and it can help you to kind of feel a bit more inspired when you're trying to find stories from your personal history and your personal past that have led to this point in time now. So we've got freedom, connection, vitality. Amazing. So like I just said, like, can you think about some experiences, or whether personal or professional, Elizabeth, that have helped you to initiate those feelings of freedom, connection, and vitality, or helped you in your business to help your clients experience that? No wonder we connect so easily. Family, freedom, community, and nature connection, and earth wisdom. Beautiful. I love that. Absolutely beautiful. So like I said, it's important that we understand what makes us soft, grounded feeling. Okay, interesting, Ben. And I want to encourage you to take that a step deeper, because I don't think they're values. Grounded might be a value. Soft, there's probably a result of a value underneath it. So, you know, you might even want to get, like, you can Google values lists, but it's integrity, authenticity, confidentiality. Yeah. So I feel like there's going to be another layer there for you, Ben, that's going to, you know, really help you to embody your values even more deeply. Grounded might be a value, the feeling of groundedness, but I think soft and feeling, I feel like there's going to be 2 more really more powerful ones, essentially. Hi, Jules. Welcome, sweetheart. Alrighty. So yeah, what makes you and your services or your products unique, right? It's your values. It's the way you communicate your values. It's your story. It's the way you communicate your story. And it's the way you share about your experience and the transformation that you've been through, right? Like I say this quite a lot. There's thousands of people out there who've studied shiatsu, kinesiology, and start, you know, business strategy and publishing, right? Lots of people out there who do very similar work to me. But there's only one person who thinks like me. There's only one person who feels like me. There's only one person who's had my experiences. who's had my taste of life and who has my particular interpretation on life, right? So when we can bring our products and our services or our brand and match it with the personality and infuse it with our personality, infuse it with our story, it doesn't matter how many people out there do similar work to you, you stand out. And the people who resonate with your journey will most likely be people who are soulmate clients, right? Who are coming across your content, or they're encountering you and your work, and they are connecting with it on that really deep and beautiful level, right? This is the power of it. So we've got the hero's journey from a personal perspective, right? How we can bring in our personal business genesis story and our brand story, our core values. But then we also have the hero's journey from our client's perspective as well. And this is really powerful to look at too. Let's bring my notes over. So like I spoke about yesterday, the various questions, you can use that form or guide the hero's journey, which is often seen as like a circle, right? There's a couple of different images. It's either a circle or it's a line with it like the hero comes out, extends down into the underworld and comes back. It's kind of like a U shape. But when we can actually ask those questions around when we're trying to find stories that relate with our client and that have our client be the hero, okay? So it's really, really good to have two different types of stories that relate to two, whether it's you personally as a personal brand or your client and the client's journey, okay? So of course, this is where the strategy comes in. We need to know who's the client, who's the hero, right? Specifically, who are they? Where are they from? What are they dealing with? This is all your niching, right? This is all the differentiators that separate your clients, your soulmate clients, from everybody else. Now, I personally believe that, when it comes to client niching or, like soulmate clients, so to speak, we can look at it from the perspective of the client. Like, is it a particular person doing a particular thing? But we can also look at it from the perspective of a transformation that I facilitate. So we can niche down in two different areas, whether that's the client perspective or the transformation that I facilitate. And maybe I can facilitate that transformation for lots of different types of people, but I specialize in that kind of transformation. Today we're going to talk about the client, right? Because this relates to the hero's journey from the client's perspective. So who is the client? This is important to understand. If you don't know who your client is, your soulmate client, and when I say soulmate client, I mean like the A-grade client, the person that you love to work with, not the person that you just take on because you might need the money, or the person that, registers for a sales call and you say yes just because they're there, right? It's really powerful to delve deep into who do I love to work with? Who do I love to work with? Who lights up my soul? Who inspires me to no end? Who, like when I get off the end of a session or, at the end of working with them, I feel like my energy is bigger than it was prior. So that's a really good indicator. If you're getting off a session with a client feeling drained, feeling exhausted, most likely they're not a soulmate client, right? It's also really important to think here, is my soulmate client stuck in victim mentality or are they in an empowered mentality? Oops. Often we can speak to our client. Oh, Amanda, that's such a lovely thing to say. Oh, I'm blushing. We can speak to our client in their disempowered version or their empowered version. And often we can speak to them in their disempowered version very unconsciously, like we don't realize that we're speaking directly to that person who's stuck in a disempowered place. As a result, like you get who you message to, right? Whoever you message in your content creation, in everything that you do to your business, in your business, whoever you speak to, the kind of person that you speak to is the kind of person who you're going to get booking in with you. So it's really important to distinguish, am I focusing only on the pain that my client is going through? Or am I focusing on the pain, like holding space for the pain, but digging into the transformation of what's possible, digging into that final pleasurable place that I can facilitate for them. It's a little bit of an off kilter direction there, but I just wanted to say that because it's really important. So who or what is the villain, right? If we're looking at the hero's journey template, who or what is the villain? What is it that your client is trying to resolve, right? And this is very connected to what's the challenge that they have to overcome. So what are they dealing with? Is it someone or something? Is it a relationship or a person, or is it an archetypal energy that's playing out in their life? Is it a habit? Is it the system? Is it the status quo? What is it is it a mindset? What is it that your hero, your client, your soulmate client is needing? What challenge are they needing to overcome? So that's really, really important. And you can look at the challenge as a bit like the villain. The challenge is the villain. Excuse me. The challenge is the villain. Who is the mentor that calls them to adventure? Who do you think the mentor is that calls them to adventure? It's very obvious, right? It's you. You're the mentor. You're the person who activates that inspiration within them. My glasses going off a little bit, Kilter. I'll take them off. You are the person who activates that inspiration within them, right? Who encourages, who plants the seed for adventure. And you could even think about that, especially if the work that you do in your business is transformational, right? If you're doing inner work, or if you're helping them to transform some aspect of their life, which I'd say probably 95% of you who are in this group do transformational work, then consider that the work you do is a call to adventure, right? You're activating within them new possibilities, new horizons. Yeah, you're taking their hand, potentially guiding them into the underworld, facing all the inner dragons, all the inner, the wizards and the witches and the villains that we need to, battle, aka the things that happen in our own head for many of you, or the system that you're trying to break free from, right? Depending on who the villain is for you, or the challenge. And then you're guiding them back out the top, yeah, so that they have more knowledge, they have more wisdom, they have, beautiful opportunities, beautiful things that they can share with their people now. So consider you are the mentor that calls them to adventure. And then once they've moved through and overcome that adversity and that challenge, what new possibilities are available for them after that? So it's very easy to look at this kind of formula as problem, solution, success, or reward, or resolution, right? And this can help us to really get into the headspace, which is really important in marketing, where we're focusing on being problem solvers. So what's the problem that we're solving? What we can do is we can get far too caught up in the specifics of the business, the specifics of the modality, the specifics of the service, right? The intricacies, when we're not actually focusing enough on the bigger problem and solution that we're facilitating. This in and of itself, if you can create storytelling content that helps to outline the bigger problem and solution that you solve, you're gonna find your content is going to be 10 times more powerful, right? If you can introduce transformational elements into that content, where it's not just information driven, but transformation driven, once again, you're going to find that's going to be so much more powerful. So let me have a look here. Yeah, so essentially, you're wanting to not focus on the specifics of the service, right? Or the specifics of the product. It's the bigger picture problem solution, success, right? What's available for your person once they've gone through that problem and solution? What's on the other side of that? How does that transform their life? How does that transform their life 5 years down the track? That's where you want to be focusing in your content, especially in your storytelling content. I'm going to take a breath. So this is really how we start to weave intuition with strategy, right? So that we can weave story with our message in our business. I hope this is starting to paint a clear picture for you guys, because it's incredibly powerful to have a framework like this to work to in your content, in your marketing. Otherwise, it feels like you're literally, like I said, throwing spaghetti, hoping something's going to stick. Having a framework, having a strategy, having some sort of structure that you can start to navigate your business within is so essential, like so important. Trust me, I spent probably 7 years in my business not having that and feeling like not making much money, working second jobs because I couldn't, bring in the cash in my business, feeling like a fraud, feeling like a failure, all of those things. It's so important and so powerful to have a strategy and a structure that can guide you so that you can actually start to see tangible results. Like I said at the beginning, storytelling is one of those powerful ways that you can connect at the heart with your person, right? That you can literally speak to a crowd of thousands of people and have your soulmate client raise their hand, go, that's me. That's me. You're speaking to me. You're speaking to me. You're in my head. I'm going through that experience now, or that's the journey that I'm on, right? So that they self-identify, they raise their hand, and they start to move towards you, rather than you feeling like you have to hustle all the time to find clients, right? It's a very, very different energy, different perspective. When you are in the space of standing in your power, owning the power of your voice, owning the power of your message, owning the power of your journey, and the power of the work that you do, the transformation, claiming that, right? This is often what we tend to do, especially women. We don't, tall poppy syndrome and all of that. We don't want to be seen as too big for our boots. We don't want to brag. We don't want to, fucking Auntie Trish, we don't want to piss her off, whatever is going on in your brain when you're holding yourself back from being your most bold self, especially in your marketing. But this is the power of it, right? When we claim all of that, when we harness the power of our voice, and when we actually really say, I'm an expert in my field, I know what I'm talking about. This is my journey. This is how far I've come. This is the transformation that I've had to move through to get to this place right now. And I am worthy and my value is placed upon the transformation that I facilitate for my clients. And when we can really communicate that in as powerful a way, big stuff tends to happen. Really, really big stuff. So, did anyone have any questions? I can see we've got a few people here live. I wanted to open up the space. We're going to have another session probably a little bit later tomorrow, about 1:30 tomorrow instead of 1, where we're going to be talking about how to bring your client testimonials and your client transformations and turn them into storytelling pieces of content. No worries, Annabelle, do the replay. That's totally fine. But essentially, this is about helping you get into your creative flow. It's about helping you own your story. And it's also about providing a space for those of you who are ready to step up, who are ready to step into a sacred container with me, where we are going to be launching our own published book, where you can actually have a feel for my work, a feel for me and who I am, and actually self-identify if you'd like to move forward. So I'm going to be talking a lot more about the Sacred Rebel project tomorrow, because this is really I don't think there's anything that's actually lit me up so much other than these multi-author books that I'm facilitating at the moment. The Sacred Rebel project essentially is for the people in business, the women in business, who feel like the work that they do in their business is disrupting the old paradigm. Yeah, it's like deeply, deeply connected to their mission in their business. So if that's you, if you feel like your work is disrupting old, outdated ways of operating in your field and really heralding a new way, heralding the new earth, or heralding a new vision, or, really like you are bold and courageous enough to have a vision and to really be able to stand in that vision powerfully and say, even if I piss some people off, I don't care, because my mission is more important to me than that. So if that's you, if you work in that sort of field where you are, so to speak, a sacred rebel, heralding a new way, then the energy of this container, of this project, is perfect for you. And I would love to extend a sacred invitation for you to reach out and connect with me to see if you are a fit. This woman in particular, this person, the people who I'm calling in for this book are a few cycles in their business, right? They really are starting to understand the mission that they're on. They have that vision, that strong vision and that strong mission for what it is that they're here to do, and they are ready to take that to the global stage. They're ready to write their story and to have their story be published, to have that story become a best-selling book. That's what happens with our multi-author books. It's very easy to get them to bestseller. And also who's ready to claim that from a teaching perspective as well with the summit. So I'm going to be sharing more about that because it's so freaking exciting. Big, big, big energy, this one. Anyway, if anybody doesn't have any other questions, that's probably a pretty solid time for us to sign off. Take all a little breath together. I hope that's been inspiring for you guys today. We've got another great day tomorrow. Feel free to, like I said, if you're experimenting with storytelling in your business and your content, you're most welcome to share the link in this Facebook group. We will go and support your post, especially if it's a public post, right? So if it's to your personal page, you'll have to make sure that it's public, which is really important. That can help get the algorithm up. I'm going to be posting some more home play outlining the personal genesis, the business genesis story, and the business brand story that you can start to refine for yourself. And I will see you all tomorrow. Awesome. Alrighty, take care. Bye.